So when we are creating a custom IDOC or when we are working with a standard IDOC, so there are few important components or few important elements we have in IDOCs. They are segments. So what is a segment? It defines
Structure.
Structure of group of fields.
Number of features.
structure of the data. Okay, defines the structure of the data. Structure nothing but what are the fields we are using in IDOC, right? And what are the different segments here? Like segment in the sense we may not have only single segment. We might have header level, parent segment, and item level segment, child segments. In the header level segment, we have header data. In the item level segments or child segments, we have item level data. Okay, so that depends on how we are creating the segments. In some segments, we may not have parent and child like segments. We have only single segment, header level segment. When there is no item level data. Okay, I will show you one segment. The transaction code is WE31. We can also call segment type. Segment type or segments all are same. Okay. T code is WE31. That is to create the segments or to maintain the existing standard segments or to check the existing standard segments of any standard message type. Okay. In W05, we check the segments, how segments would look like. Okay. So when we are creating the segment, we can create with a structure. What are the fields we need to include in the IDOC? One segment can carry one record or multiple records. For that, what we need to set? Cardinality. Is it 1 to 1 or right? Segment can carry, the IDOC can carry one record at a time or multiple records at a time. How can you define that? That your IDOC should carry only one IDOC, uh, only one record per each IDOC or multiple records per each IDOC?
Multiple records. Multiple records.
To carry one record, we have to set cardinality 1. If you want to, if your IDOC, if you need to carry only one record per IDOC, right? For example, there are material records, material master data. If you want to define only one record for each IDOC, you need to use cardinality 1 in the segment level. If you want to allow to carry multiple records in each IDOC, per IDOC, right? Then cardinality should be different, n. Okay? Depends on the requirement. If you want to send single record in each IDOC, cardinality is 1. If you want to send multiple records in each IDOC, cardinality is n. Okay, so that you can append, just assume it as an internal table with the n cardinality. It will accept multiple records. It can carry, the IDOC can carry multiple records to the receiver in the single IDOC. Okay, clear? Then your segment structure would be repeated with the same fields, a different record. Let me show you. W31. This is the segment editor. Okay, this is the segment editor. You can check the standard segment here, or you can create your own segments for custom IDOCs. If it is a standard IDOC, already standard segments would be available for the IDOC. Okay, most of the time segments name would starts with E for any standard IDOCs. Okay, let me check. So this is the segment for material data. Can you see what are these? Segment versions. So this is the first version which is created in 1997. Later we have one more version 2015, and we have one more version that is released and changed in 2015. So why they maintain these versions? When they are creating the segments or when they are enhancing the segments, if there are any changes to the segments, if there is a requirement to add new fields, they need to edit the segment and they have to release it so that we can make sure to the receiver that we are not going to do any more changes. So this is the final segment structure, because without informing the receiver you are doing your own changes in the segment structure, the IDOC will carry a different data, right, with new fields, but the receiver will expect a different format of IDOC with the other fields, right? So to make that consistency, once the segment is ready, we release it. Then it is not ready for changes. Once it is released, it is not ready for changes. Okay? So that receiver can make sure he is going to receive only these fields. We are going to make sure that. Okay? By releasing it. Clear? Now check the fields. Double click on this segment definition. So this is the segment definition. This is the segment type name. So what are the fields we have? I don't know what is this field. Matter, external number. So this is segment with material number data. Let's check one more segment. So this is other segment with material type data. Let's find what is the segment for material master data. For that we have a IDOC type. What is the next object or element we create after segments? IDOC type.
So can anyone create the segment, sir?
Okay, do you want to create?
No, sir. I'm asking.
Sorry, what
We
is the
can.
question?
So we can also create the segment, no,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Just go to W31,
Okay.
create, enter the name, for example, ZE.
So if you create the segment, can we edit it?
You can
Like
edit
in
it. Yes, you can edit it. So this is the segment. Provide the segment description and enter the field names. What are the field names you want to use in the IDOC or in the data record, right? For
okay,
example, I want Matner. What is the data element? Matner. Okay. Let's say these four fields I need in the IDOC. For now, I'll create it to the local object, right? This is the segment.
yes,
Go back to the segment editor. Yeah, this one. Once your segment is ready, finalized, then set to release. Okay, let me release it. So segment is released. Now let me try to edit it. It won't allow you to edit because the segment is released in the released status, finalized status, right?
yes.
But if there is any requirement to edit the segment, someone can who have access for the release, so they can cancel the release. Release is cancelled, and you can double click on this, and you can
We can edit it.
edit the fields.
That's how we can.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So why we use this release is to make sure some consistency between sender and receiver, right? Both should have information on what they are doing, what are the changes they are doing. Okay. When we are working with interfaces, please keep in mind that both receiver and sender should understand what are the changes that is happening for the interface, right? If you take file, if you want to add new field in the file, you should inform that to the receiver. Hey, we are going to add one more new field to the file. So that they can make necessary changes in the receiver system to accept that new field, right? For example, in this IDOC, if you are adding new field, inform the receiver. Hey, we are adding one more new field to the IDOC so that the receiver also add that new field to their system to accept that data. Okay, clear? Next, here we created one segment, right? So the segment might have a Child segments also. I'll show you how to add child segments. W30, W30 is the transaction code for IDOC type. Okay, W30 is the transaction code for IDOC type. After segments, after creating the segments, we create IDOC types. Here we have standard IDOC types, or if you are creating the custom IDOC type, you can create it. So this represents the IDOC and the segments. For example, let's check the standard IDOC types. This is for material bill of material, and this is for material master data, MATMAS. MATMAS is for material master IDOC type. Double click on this, enter, display. What does it contains? This IDOC type contains segments. So we add segments to the IDOC type. These are all the segments of this IDOC type. This is the header segment. These are all item level segments. For text, we have one more item level segment. Double click on the IDOC here. What is this? Mandatory, because the data should be populated to this segment. That is mandatory. Okay. What is the minimum number?
1.
1.
1.
Maximum number?
9,900.
9,900.
Up to 10,000. Maybe, sorry, less than 10,000. It can accept how many IDOCs it can accept? Oh, sorry, how many records each IDOC can accept?
1.
And
1. 1.
Minimum one record
minimum, maximum
and
9,000.
maximum 9,900 records,
Oh,
right? In, in each IDOC, we can populate this many records. So if we check this segment, how many records can this segment accept? Up to 99 records. So you can append up to 99 records to the segment. This is also so depends on the requirement. We configure that. Okay, in W31. If you want to send only one IDOC, since we created the custom IDOC, let me add it to the IDOC type. So let me create one IDOC type. If there is a standard IDOC, you don't need to create all of these. Okay, you just need to configure it. But I'll just show you. I'll show you one more thing. Here we have two types: basic type and extension. So when we use basic type and when we use extension, basic type means the standard IDOC type, the standard IDOC type provided by SAP. What is extension? Extension means the additional enhancement what we did for the IDOC. That's what we called as a extension. For example, if you want to add additional fields to the IDOC, standard IDOC segments, that is extension. Okay, basic type means standard one. So create. When you are enhancing, you are going to select extension. Since it's a custom IDOC, create new IDOC type, provide the description. You can also copy from existing one, any standard IDOC. For example, if you enter 01, it will copy the standard IDOC type to the custom IDOC type. Continue. So this is the IDOC type. What does IDOC contains? Records, right? Data records. Where the data records actually stores are available? Segments, right? Now add segment to the IDOC type. Right click on the IDOC type, insert segment. Or create segment. Create segment, nothing but we are not creating a new segment, right? We are adding already created segment in W31 to this IDOC type. Provide the segment. This is the segment name, what we created in which transaction code?
W13.
W31. Is it a mandatory or optional? If it is mandatory, IDOC won't generate without any data. If it is optional, IDOC will generate with empty fields, right? There is no point in generating empty IDOC, so I'm selecting it as mandatory. What is the minimum number and maximum number? Do you want to generate single record for each IDOC? Then give one, maximum also one, right? If you want to generate more records, provide depends on the requirement and your limit. Okay. If you want to transfer multiple material records within the same IDOC, then use this cardinality. Okay. Continue. Now your segment is added to the IDOC type. Like that, you can add more segments. Select the segment. What is this option? If you want to add segment as child to the header level segment or add segment in the same level. So when this will be appeared, select the header segment, go to edit. add child segment. If you want to add a child level segment, enter the segment name. For example, let's select any some segment available in the system instead of creating one more. Starts with the let me add some segment. It has to the child segment. Okay. Now this is the header segment and this is the child segment. Okay. And also you can add one more child to this if you want. One now it will be the parent segment and you can add one more child segment to this. Okay. When you have header and item level data, you can add child segments to this, or you can add segments in the same level. Clear? What is this? IDOC type W30. What are the properties? Okay. And is it a header level segment or child level segments? All those we set in IDOC type. What is the transaction code? W30. Next one is message types. Message type. So what is message type? So what is a message type? Message type represent the type of the data what we are sending to the receiver, or what is the data that we are receiving from the sender. For example, material data, vendor data, customer data, sales order data, purchase order data. So for every data, one message type will be there. It represents the data. Okay. What is the transaction code?
W81.
W81 for message type. Here you can check the existing standard message types, or you can create a custom message type. Okay. So once the message type is created, we are going to link the IDOC type and message type. What does the IDOC type contains? Data segments data. Okay. In WE82, we are going to link the IDOC type and message type. Okay. That is the next step. What are these? They're all standard IDOC message types. So please remember, when someone asks you to create a IDOC configuration, what is the first question you should ask? Is there a standard IDOC available for that data, right? If the standard IDOC is available, what is the next question you have to ask? What is the message type, right? What is the message type that I have to configure to send that data? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Every time when you are working in IDOCS, most of the times we are going to talk about message types. So what is the message type I have to use for this IDOC? What is the message type I have to use for other IDOC? Okay. If there is any requirement on IDOC, first thing you need to check is there any standard message type available to handle this requirement? If standard message is not available, what you need to do? Create custom message type. And you need to create, from where you need to start to create the custom message type? From segments. Create the custom segments, create the custom IDOC type, and create the custom message type, and link IDOC type and message type. For example, for material data, we have standard message type. Mostly in any projects, we use that standard message type only for material master data. Matmas. This one. So this is the message type for material master data. Matmas. The name is Matmas. Copy this. What is the transaction code to link IDOC type and message type?
80 W80.
W82. Or if it is a
Yes.
standard message type, that configuration should be already available there. Here, message type, basic type. Basic type nothing but what is this? IDOC type. I've shown you, right? Basic type and the extension. Basic type is the standard IDOC type. What is extension?
If we are enhancing, we want to enhance.
Sorry. Yeah. So yeah. So basic type means standard IDOC type. If there is any enhancement to the standard IDOC, here we need to add which one? Extension. Okay. Clear? If it is a custom IDOC, create new entry, provide the message type and the IDOC type. There is no extension required for custom message types, right? You can change it anytime, right? You can cancel the release and add more fields to the segment. You don't need an extension for custom IDOCs. Okay. So let's create message type first. So this is the message type. Save the message type. It will ask for a transport request. What type of transport request it will create? If you observe this, so this is the table. EDMSG is the table which contains all existing message types in the system. I'll show you in the next class. Okay. So this message type is created. What is the next step? What is the next step? After creating the message type, we need to link
Just
the
type and
IDOC type and message type. So what is our IDOC type created in WE30? This one. This is the IDOC type. And the release number, right? You can refer any of the standard IDOCs and you can provide that release number. We created this, right? Didn't we save it? We created the IDOC type, right? Looks like we did not save that. Create segment. Let me add some segment. Save it. Yeah. Now let me add this to link here. Okay, so you have to provide release number here. You can refer the existing standard IDOCS release number and you can provide it. Click on save. Now we completed the link between IDOC type and message type. So we created the segment, we created the IDOC segment, we created the message type, we created the link between message type and IDOC type. What is the next step? We need to create process code, that is WE41. So outbound process code we are going to define it here, but this is not necessary every time. Not for every IDOC. This is not necessary. This is not necessary for every IDOC. Okay. This is optional. Outbound process code is optional. Depends on the IDOC requirement. So our basic IDOC structure is ready. Next, to send this IDOC, what are the details we need to know? To whom we need to send this IDOC, right? The receiver, right? Our IDOC structure is ready. Now we need to configure the communication data. For example, how we need to send this IDOC and who will receive this IDOC. Those configurations we did in W20. W21 port, we call it as port. Port is nothing but so what is the communication medium we need to use. And next, W30 partner profile, outbound or inbound partner profile. If you are sending the IDOC, what type of partner profile we need to create? If you are
Wow.
sending the IDOC, we need to create outbound partner profile. If you are receiving the IDOC, if you are
Yeah.
receiving the IDOC, what is the type of partner profile you need to create?
Yeah.
Inbound partner profile, right? First go to port, define the port. It's a one-time activity defining the port. So the type of the port what we use for IDOCs are IDOCs for SAP to SAP is TRFC port, transactional RFC port. This is the port. For SAP to SAP IDOC transfer, what is the port we can use? TRFC port, transactional RFC port. These are all the ports available. Each port is a communication for one system. It contains the connection details. Simply remember, port contains connection details of the receiver system. Okay, clear? For example, select this port, existing port, or you can also create your own port. For that, what you need to do? You need to have a RFC connection. You need to provide RFC connection details. What is the transaction code for RFC destination? Where you can check the RFC connections. SM59. Okay. So that RFC connection details you are going to use in the port. Okay. Once the port is ready, you can use the same port for multiple message types. You don't need to use separate port for each message type. Port is common for multiple message types. Okay. It is just a communication channel, connectivity channel between sender and receiver. By using this port, you can send any type of IDOC data. Okay. Next one. After configuring the port, what is the next step? Partner profile. What is the transaction code for partner profile?
W20.
WE20. Here we define the partner profile. Partner profile nothing but who is the receiver, what is the data we are sending to that receiver, right? Who is the receiver and what type of data we are going to send it to the receiver. So in partner profile, we have message type. What message type represents what is the data we are sending, and the receiver. Who is the receiver? Here we configure both. Is it a sender or receiver? Are we sending the data or are we receiving the data? If we are receiving the data, what type of data we are receiving? That we define by message type. What is the message type we are receiving? That means what type of data we are receiving. Where we configure this? In W20 partner profile. Who is the sender and what is the data we are sending? Who is the receiver? What is the data that we are receiving? If it is a sender, outbound partner profile. Receiver, inbound partner profile. Okay. For sender, we configure the outbound partner profile. For receiving the data, not for sender. Sorry, sending the data. Ah, yeah, receiver details where we configure in inbound partner profile. Sender details,
One partner.
no, I'll I'll make it like this. Receive. When we are sending the data, we need to maintain outbound partner profile. When we are receiving the data, we need to maintain inbound partner profile. Okay, clear? Now let's go
Yes.
to W20. Partner type, logical system. For IDOCS, we select a partner type, logical systems. And logical systems will be already defined, or you need to create your own logical system. If it is already defined, for the receiver or sender, you can use the existing logical system. A for receiver, A for sender. Or if you want to create, you can create your own. For that, to create the logical system, what is required? Port number. This is port number is required. Okay, whatever we created in W21. Okay, here you need to provide port number. So let me select the existing one to create the outbound partner profile. I'll create this one, A4H client 800. I'm selecting the existing port. What can you see here? For this existing partner profile logical system, you can see outbound configurations and inbound configurations. Okay, so if you are sending the data, you need to configure the message type. For this message type, who is the receiver? Receiving port. How can you identify the receiver? By using port number. Okay, clear? Inbound also similar. So what is the data you are sending? So what is the data you are sending and who is the receiver of the data? Anyway, the receiver will be the current system, and you need to configure the message type. So where do you do this configuration? Sender and receiver details and message type details of that sender or receiver. In W20, outbound partner profile or inbound partner profile. Partner profile configuration. What is the transaction code? W20. Let me create one partner profile. Change it. Let's assume it's a outbound partner profile I'm creating because I am sending the data, material master data to the receiver. Add new partner. What is the message type that I have created? This one. Port. What is the port? You can select the port here. Port means receiver. Who is the receiver of this data? For example, I'll select this port. Now observe the options here. What are the options available here? Pass IDOC immediately, collect IDOCS. So if you select pass IDOC immediately, it will immediately generate the IDOC. Okay, depends on that requirement. You have to select this immediate or collect. Collect, what will happen? It will generate the IDOCS after some time, not immediately. Now basic type. What is basic type? The IDOC type, whatever we created. And from where this is coming from? Message type and IDOC type link W82. right? Save it. Package size, uh, I'll give 100, some 100 package size. Save the partner profile configuration. So this is the IDOC we have added, right? This is the message type we have added in the partner profile configuration. That is outbound partner profile. If you want to receive the data, add message type. What is the data that you are receiving from the other system, and the process code. So what does the process code represents? When we receive IDOC, sorry, when we receive IDOC from the external system, what should happen? When we received one IDOC from the external system to our system, what should happen then? For example, we received material master data in the form of IDOC from the sender, and our system is the receiver. Then what is the next step? Once the IDOC is received, that data should be created in the system, right? That material master data, right?
Yes, sir.
Whatever the data available in IDOC, that data should be transferred to some internal table, and we need to use that data to create the materials in our current system, receiver system. How that should happen automatically? There should be a program, right? Program or function module, right? To execute that BAPI, material master BAPI, to create the records. So we create that logic and we link that program to process code. That process code we provide here. That process code represent that program or that logic to create the data in SAP. Okay. We simply provide that process code. So whenever the IDOC receives, it will capture that IDOC data and create the data in the SAP system by using some function module, sorry, by using some BAPIs or any other data insertion techniques. So receiver side, what we need to provide? Process code. Okay. Once once this configuration is completed, what is the next step?
program.
It is ready to trigger the IDOCs. If it is a custom IDOC, we need to create a program. What is the next step? So what are the configurations we did as of now? So we created the segments, we created the IDOC type, we created the message type, and we linked IDOC type and message type in W82, and we maintain the port for communication, and we maintain the outbound partner profile. What is the next step? If it is a custom IDOC, program to generate the IDOC. So to generate the outbound IDOC, what we need to do? We need to call one function module. That function module will generate the IDOC. First, we need to populate the data records. Data records, nothing but what are data records? Segments. You know segment structure, right? What we have created. You need to populate all those fields. And the control records, nothing but receiver. Who is the receiver? And we need to call a function module. What is that function module? This one, master IDOC distribute. Master IDOC distribute is the function module which generates the IDOC. What are the inputs for this? Control record, receiver and sender data. Go to table. So this is the data record, EDIDD. This is the data record. Segment data, you have to pass it to this one, master IDOC distribute. So this function module you have to call in the program. Clear? So whenever that program executes, that program will populate data to the IDOC and the data will be generated in the form of IDOC. Clear? Okay. So in the program, you need to call this function module, master IDOC distribute, and pass the data records and control records, and it will generate the IDOC. Once the IDOC is generated, where can you check the status? Where can you check the status of the IDOC? W05. There you can check the status of the outbound IDOC, right? If it is a receiver, inbound IDOC. Okay. So what is BD10? BD10 is the standard program which generates IDOCs for material master data. BD12 is for customer master data, I think. So these are all the standard programs already provided by SAP. If it is a custom IDOC, we need to create our own program and we need to call that master IDOC distribute function module in the program. So these are the standard programs available to send the material. What is the transaction code? BD10 is for send the material data. Let's generate IDOC for some material. Select the material. For example, select this and execute. or you need to select the logical system. So who is the receiver? If the configuration is maintained, it will generate that IDOC. Send material in full, that is not required. Execute it. One master IDOC set up for message type. 0 communication IDOC generated for the message type. Go and check W05. If the configuration is not maintained, it is not going to generate any IDOC. Please keep that in mind. Okay, IDOC is not generated. Let me try other logical system. Looks like configuration is not maintained. Communication IDOCs are not generating. Let me try customer data. BD12. Partner profile should be maintained to generate the IDOC, right? Partner profile should be maintained. Output type is now one communication IDOC is generated because looks like the IDOC that configuration is maintained. Now go to W05. Which one? This one, right? Yeah, this is the IDOC which we generated. Status is 21. Error in ALE service. Looks like there is some port issue. Port is not configured properly. But we can check the data. Go to double click on the IDOC. Go to data records. What is the data it is generated? So this is the customer we generated, right? 420. Yeah. So this is the IDOC that is generated for the customer master data, right? Outbound IDOC. If it is a custom IDOC, we need to create our own program to select the customers or to select the materials and generate the IDOC. So what is the function module we use to generate the IDOC? What is the function module name?
Master IDOC distribute.
Master IDOC distribute is used to generate the IDOCs. Okay, clear?